In this bedroom, there was a mirror. It was like 100-year-old mirror. And after everything that was happening with the apparitions and everything, the family started to see faces appear in the mirror. And then sometimes it would be full body apparitions.
The Late Night Legends podcast is meant for a mature audience. Topics covered may be violent or sexual in nature and are not suitable for sensitive listeners. Please be aware of your surroundings. For specific trigger warnings, please see the episode's show notes. Testimony shared by guests of this show are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Late Night Legends hosts or staff. This podcast and any linked materials should not be considered medical or professional advice, nor is the information a substitute for the expertise or treatment from a professional. Listener discretion is advised. Watch out.
Welcome, everybody, to Late Night Legends. We've got another great one for you tonight. Maria's going to talk about the Black Forest haunting, and it sounds delicious. So, I'm going to hand it over to Kate for some announcements, and we'll go from there.
Good job, Tim. Great job.
If you would like to hear about our upcoming topics, we have some pretty exciting ones coming up. Or if you are interested in entering to win some of our merch, we have 2 hats up for grabs, and we will be getting additional details on both of those things at the end of the show. Right.
Yes. Just really quick, because we didn't do it this show and we missed it last time. My name is Frank. We got Tim, Kay, and Maria.
Oops.
Maria.
Not bad. I guess I should have did that.
Maria.
No, you're good. You got excited to say how delicious Black Forest is. I agree with you. I get it. Go ahead, Maria.
So unfortunately, we're not speaking about the cake, but if you have any on hand, feel free to eat it while listening to this. Also, it's not talking about a Black Forest in Germany, although the forest is quite similar in lore and fairy tales, I would say. So the Black Forest we're talking about is between Colorado Springs in Colorado and Monument, and it's a unincorporated area, so it's not a town, it's not a city, it's just land. And it's aptly named for all of the ponderosa pines that fill it up, and if you view it from the summit of Pikes Peak, it just looks like a black mass. So this land was officially settled excuse me, back in the late 1850s.
My cat would like to talk to your cat.
Cute. And so this area was mainly a source for lumber because of all of the pines, and it employed more than 1,000 lumberjacks and 700 teamsters. And this area provided more than 1 billion board feet of lumber, I can't speak today, lumber for Kansas Pacific, the Denver, the Rio Grande, and the New Orleans railroads. And this is also known to be one of the home that we're speaking of today. It's known to be one of the most haunted houses in recorded history. So in 1991, Beth and Steve Lee and their 2 sons, they moved into this dream home. It was a 2-story lodge with 5 acres, and it was secluded and surrounded by the woods. The family began hearing strange sounds, moving in the night, just footsteps. They would hear chains rattling, and they would also hear orchestra music coming from the woods.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's some scary. That's the scary part.
They would also see dark figures lurking outside the house, and not only that, but they would also smell weird scents. And appliances would turn on and off. So the works of any typical haunting. So before we talk more about the Lees, I just want to give a little bit more background into the Black Forest. So the land was originally settled by Native Americans, mainly the Ute or Ute. And they were believed to be some of the oldest Native Americans in Colorado. And they were known to have established routes throughout the Black Forest, and they used it for hunting buffalo and gathering food, and mainly just to pass through. And some of the other natives that passed through this forest and used it was the Cheyenne Native Americans as well. And in this forest, the trees, like some of the trees are normal, but some of the other ones, you look at them and they're bent or just shaped much differently than other trees. And it's believed that these were used as sacred trees or prayer trees for Native Americans. It's not really for sure who or which tribe was utilizing these trees, but it was believed that it was that they were bent and shaped in these different ways by the hands of the Native Americans. For multiple reasons, either for prayer, for sacred sites, or just for pointing the way or just directing others that were passing through. And these are still seen to this day. So I actually went and took some pictures of some that I could find. And you can tell because they have like little lines and stuff where they were tied up, kind of like how you'd care for a bonsai tree. And so it's said that throughout like many generations, these people would pass by and like bend it a different way and then just continue, and then other generations would come. So this forest just has like a lot of energy and a lot of history tied into it. So many believe that there is something spiritual within the forest as well. And so I guess this home kind of just was stuck in the middle of it. The Lees, they hope to raise their 2 kids in this historic secluded forest, but unbeknownst to them, the previous owner, he had experienced a bunch of multiple occurrences, and he just didn't tell the family because he thought that they would think he was either crazy or just wouldn't believe him, and he needed to sell the house. So, but literally like just a couple weeks after moving in, the family began experiencing things. The very first things was just hearing footsteps throughout the house, and then the sounds. The main one was the rattling chains, and in my culture, it's believed that these sounds like indicate that there's like a demonic presence. I don't know why exactly, but that's just what it is in my culture. I don't know what it would be for this specific situation. But that was like one of the main things that they were hearing. And then the orchestra music, they would just say that it would kind of echo throughout the forest, and like they would just hear it coming from the woods and no source, because, you know, they were surrounded by 5 acres and the next neighbor, it would be like a drive away. And so the other things, it just began intensifying. It would be like appliances turning on and off, and then TVs turning on and off, and then the lights would flicker on and off. And so they thought that this was more of like faulty wiring. And then one day they arrived home and literally all of the lights in the house were just turning on and off. And Beth said it looked like fireworks exploding in the house.
Time to move out.
Yeah, so
No thanks.
still with all of these things, like they were still just saying, oh, it's nothing. Like we're probably just, you know, the house makes noises, and then it's an old house in the woods. Like the electricity is probably not that great. But then this is when the kids started seeing things, and they would wake up and see like a shadow in the corner of their eyes, or they would see just a shadow figure in their bedroom. And Beth, of course, like she started believing them, and she started seeing these shadow figures as well. But like any other horror movie, the dad just didn't believe it. He still thought it was just faulty wiring, and then the kids having their imaginations run wild because of everything that was happening.
Dad.
Yeah. So while all of this was happening, they started smelling a chemical smell. And usually when you hear like hauntings and there's a smell, people say like they smell like an old perfume or like someone like smoking, but there's nothing there. But they would smell a chemical smell, which is, I don't know, it's kind of odd to me. I've never heard of like a haunting and someone smelling like bleach or something, you know?
Well, I've heard like if it's like demonic, people will smell sulfur,
Oh.
which is
Yeah, I've
like
heard
a
of
chemical.
sulfur. Yeah.
like that's like a chemical smell.
Yeah. I don't know if what they were smelling was sulfur. They said that like it would burn their eyes and their throat whenever it would
Sulfur,
come by.
Yeah, it could be
So
sulfur.
maybe it could be sulfur. And with the rattling chains, maybe.
Sulfuric acid would burn, and that is it
Yeah.
can be in a gas type form. I would actually, I don't know if it were me and that was going on, I'd probably like call somebody to come and take a look at the house and test the air and all that jazz.
Mhm.
I just like to think a spirit was like, it is so damn dusty in here. Do you people never clean?
If you were a spirit, put what your scent would be down in the comments below.
Yeah, so that is what the family did. They did have people come by and like test out for like any gas leaks, carbon leaks, anything. And nothing, everything was working fine. So they just couldn't find a source for this smell. And it would just be like a quick like waft of it, I guess. Like it would be there 1 second and the next it's gone. So like they couldn't really trace it to see like where it was coming from. And the family, they also had, I would say like the upstairs, throughout the house, it was all these things happening, but the upstairs was like the main area. And the master bedroom, I guess, was like the hot spot. And they had this mirror.
Sorry.
Not that kind.
I'm sorry. Listen, you can't say stuff like that around me. Sorry, Maria.
Where the ghost magic happens.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. Well, in this bedroom, there was a mirror. It was like 100-year-old mirror. And after everything that was happening with the apparitions and everything, the family started to see faces appear in the mirror. And then sometimes it would be full body apparitions. So you can just imagine you're just like getting ready for the day. And then behind you, there's something like, even if you're just seeing things, that would still kind of like spook you, you know? And so still, even with all, sorry, I've been sick. I'm sorry.
Okay. Good.
Even with like, even with all of this happening, like Steve, the dad, he still didn't believe any of this. He thought that locals were trying to like scare them off or just playing pranks on them. So I don't know, like he began putting a bunch of cameras around the house and just security systems, and he did it not only in the house but like the surrounding area in the woods and trees. And he also had, I believe, it was like motion sensor as well. So if anything passed by, like it would capture pictures. And these things worked very well. And it just kept going off and capturing pictures and alerting the family. But there was never anything caught, and like no one was ever there. So you would get the alert that like someone's in the backyard, but there's no one there. Or
so when you say it's working, what you mean is it's not working.
It's not working.
It's not working. Or like there's movement in the bedroom, but there's no one there. And this is when the dad started accepting that like this could be something paranormal. Because after trying so many different things, like he's
like, well, the camera's picking up some movement in the bedroom.
Yeah.
I know it's paranormal. Ain't nothing going on in there.
So in the span of 4 years, the family experienced 62 unexplained break-ins. And
break-ins?
yeah,
like-
so like a break-in.
You would think after 51, they'd be like, oh, no, we got to do something about this. But no, they just kept going to 61?
What classified as a break-in?
That's
I
a
guess
good question.
just their alarm systems like going off, and then I guess just I don't know specifically what it was, but it was just, you could tell that like stuff has been moved, or maybe the
Like
door
the
was
door
like
swing
open. Yeah.
Ah, fuck that.
Yeah. So like they would just come home and like see things like moved around. So of course authorities were called before it got to 62, and they would
They had
search
enough
the
at
area.
61. They're like, enough of this.
Yeah, they
Stuff
only
moving.
waited to like 59 actually.
People in horror movies move after like 3 or 4. These guys were
These
really
guys are
just
like,
going
nah.
for it.
Could you imagine? It's like number 43. Dad's like, nah, you know what? Nah, not yet.
Mm-mm.
I just imagine the person at the security system place that's getting a call is just like,
Mom has like a journal
Yeah.
and she's just like making like notches. And every time there's a, she's like, no, now we're on 38. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Somebody was
So
counting it. That's all I'm saying. Somebody
They
was
did.
counting.
Yeah.
it's documented all the number of times. So when the police would come, like they would search the house and nothing was missing, and eventually they would just say like, yeah, it's probably still locals just playing pranks on the family.
Maria, do you think maybe it was the police that were behind the break-ins? Because they're like, oh man, we got to search your house again. They searched the house 62 times.
Yep.
don't
Yeah,
know.
they probably did it ahead of time, just
Maybe.
in case.
They're like, oh man, we're going to search that house again. We're on number 26. Let's go.
did they notice like drinks or snacks going missing every time?
No.
The cops are dusting for prints. It's their own fingerprints. Are like, nope, nothing here.
Just gonna smudge that off and take a Pepsi while I'm at it.
Only donut crumbs. That's all that was found.
Mm.
No, but
So it was the cops.
it's a joke. I'm joking. But yeah, so after a few times, the police, they were just saying that it was pranks, but they did end up opening up an investigation in 1993. And after 45 separate trips from the authorities, there was no evidence of intruders and no missing items were ever like uncovered.
I also find that kind of hard to believe. Like in all seriousness, like if police come out a couple of times and there's nothing for them, they're not going to keep coming out. I don't think they would come out 43 times. I'm just saying.
No,
Well,
I
Here
think
you start racking up fines or something. Like they would come in and
False
arrest.
reports, something.
False
yeah.
report.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think they would be like, you need to get your wiring checked, you need to get your sensors checked, you need to get your electrical checked. They would just not
Mhm.
keep.
Yeah.
I don't
You
think
need
they
to
would.
get your house blessed, something.
Nah, I don't think they would say that.
They did check their wiring though, and like it was all functioning just fine. But yeah,
I'm with-
back in that time, like it was a smaller town, like there were less people living around, so I can see how, like, you know, if the police probably knew them, they were like, okay, let's just go see what's
Honestly,
going on
at
now.
that point, it's got to be like part of the routine. Like every time they start a shift, like, oh, we're
Yeah.
gonna go over to the Black Forest house,
Yeah.
do our daily check-in.
Probably. So yeah, with all of this, like the police was just no help for the family. So Steve just decided to add even more cameras and more motion sensors around the house.
That's such a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And he also hired a private investigator, which didn't really help at all. And yeah. So there's really not much information with that. I guess he just like came around, looked, and left. I don't know. And the cameras though, they did capture some orbs around the house and mist outside the home, which I get it, like mist in the forest is not unusual, but I guess in Colorado it is a little bit drier, so maybe there's a more paranormal reason for the mist coming on, but who knows. Maybe it was just him with like a fog machine somewhere in the background. But the outside of the home was the one that like he did capture most of the footage, and then on the inside it was more like the little orb type figures that you see that people say like, oh, it's just a bug. That's kind of what it looked like to me, but who knows. And so with these pictures, Steven decided to contact Fate magazine. I don't know if any of you guys know about that magazine, but basically, I don't know if they're still publishing, but back in the day, they would cover a lot of like strange and unknown stories and sometimes paranormal stuff. And they published the images with, I guess, a little small article of it in November in 1994. And I guess I searched it, but I think you have to like buy it or something to like read through it. But
No
it's there.
thanks.
Yeah, no. But there is a picture of the cover. So, and what Kay said, families would move immediately after like a couple of these things happening, but the family just couldn't afford to move out. They bought this lodge home in the forest, and I'm guessing it was pretty pricey. And then all that money spent with the cameras and motion sensor equipment, I'm sure their bank account was
Dad's
probably
buying
drained.
so many cameras they can't
Yeah.
move out anymore. He's
And a
bought.
PI
He's
didn't
Private
do anything.
investigator.
He put
Yeah.
so much money into the security of this house. He's bought in.
Yeah.
He's gone too far in to turn back now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
He's
what
like
this is
a
actually?
gambler just waiting to win again.
This kind of reminds me a little bit of Jeff the Talking Mongoose a little bit, where it's like now trying to prove it, and then now Dad's like, I don't know, we gotta call the magazine now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so the magazine stuff, it was just giving them the pictures. There wasn't really anything that they really got out of it other than, I guess, more attention. But the family after this, they just, when they figured out like they couldn't move out or anything, they were looking through paranormal investigators and just people that could help them out to see if they could get any answers or figure out a way to like get rid of the haunting. And they ended up reaching out to Sightings, which was a show back in 1995.
I've seen that
And-
show.
Mhm.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Tim, you've seen that show too,
Yep,
yeah?
I've seen that show. Yep.
That was my first time hearing about it, reading about this stuff.
That's an old show.
Yeah.
It's like Outer Limits.
But the show actually did come and go to the Black Forest, and they interviewed the family, I think 2 times. And the team went into the house with the psychic, and the psychic stated that there were more than 20 spirits in the house. And there was one main like malevolent spirit that they could sense, and they said like that spirit was like kind of forcing some of the others to like do stuff.
Nope. Time for Dad to sell some of those cameras.
Yeah.
Get another house.
Yeah, that's way too many spirits for my liking.
That's too many.
Used electronics never go for enough, though.
Yeah. So during one of the interviews, Beth said that it was difficult for her to breathe because she felt that there was like something cold and like a cold pressure on her chest. And they had to like stop part of the interview. And then during one of the breaks, one of the crew members, Sherry, she said she felt numb all over. And she like ran crying and then ended up falling down the stairs, which is it's not funny, but it's a little funny.
I didn't say it was funny.
Jay
Who said it was funny?
And
So you're
yeah,
saying
like,
she just like, so she felt a cold pressure. She got
that was
hysterical.
Beth.
She got hysterical and started crying and then just fell down some stairs.
Yeah, the crew member Sherry, she like she felt numb, and so like she started freaking out,
She
and then
just
started running crying.
felt numb
fell
in the
down the
legs and
stairs.
then lost. Oh,
Yeah. And then she was yelling like, "Get it out of me! Get it out of me!"
was it her?
And so
which one? The malevolent one?
Sherry.
It possessed her?
I don't know which one, but yeah, she said that like she felt like something like passed through her or entered her or something.
Well,
And so I guess whenever they helped her after she fell down the stairs, she was saged, and then she was still like feeling weird, so they took her out of the house and she just like left for the day. And she said that she felt much better after she had like left the property. And the crew also reported to hear the loud thumping, and they like could hear all the footsteps and just like noises from the roof and cameras falling from their tripods. I don't know if they said anything about like batteries being drained, because I know that's like a big thing with like investigators.
It's like a trope,
Yeah, but I didn't see anything about that.
Sounds on the roof. I gotta say that is scary. Like if I heard shit on the roof, like I'd be kind of scared.
Yeah, because it's one thing
Santa.
Listen, I
not
know this
Christmas
is gonna
time,
come as
though.
a shock. Santa may not be. Hold on, I got a chat. Oh my god, I cannot be reading my chats right now either. My chats are off limits, guys. Okay.
What were you saying, Frank?
What? No. You know what? It could be. You know what? I would say it's more likely the reindeer than Santa is what I was gonna say.
Oh.
Yeah, probably not Santa. Probably the reindeer.
Okay.
probably.
Fine. Fine.
But yeah, it is one thing like hearing like chipmunks or squirrels or birds and stuff in your roof, but if it's like actual footsteps and stuff, then that's a little different, unless you have like someone working on the roof. But like, you know, I don't know, that would kind of like, yeah, I would be leaving the house even if I can't afford it. I would be leaving.
Joan would like to remind us that Santa may be watching right now. Listen, here's what I'm going to say about Santa. Here's a guy. He works one day a year. This guy works. He spends the rest of the year judging you.
That's
Final
true.
thought. Final thought for tonight. Think about that, Santa. Run and tell that, homeboy.
Frank's getting cold this year.
Joan says she meant Hunter. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you know what? Santa's not. It's Hunter that might be watching us. It just occurred to me that nobody knows who Hunter actually is either.
No.
I'll just cut all this out. Just gonna cut a lot of this. I'm sorry, Maria. I'm sorry. From the bottom of my heart, my bad. I got a message that threw me off track, threw me off kilter. I don't know if there's any recovering from that message.
You look like you're about to gag.
No, I'm trying to not laugh is what I'm trying to do.
So
It's hard.
either
It's
Hunter
hard.
or Santa, they could be on your roof. So
Or it could just be hailing.
I don't know which one is better, Hunter or Santa. I kind of want both at the same time. I would like my stocking stuffed. What is this message now? I promise you.
That's not true. You're not cutting this out.
okay.
I'm so happy Chris doesn't watch this, Maria. That's what I'm happy about.
Oh, he does.
Oh no.
All right, so the noises on the roof.
So this family.
Yeah. So what happened, Maria?
So yeah, right where we left off, it was just the investigators. They were hearing the footsteps on the roof and everything. So they were experiencing some of the similar things that the family was. So it held some credibility with them at least. And a little bit after they left, like a couple weeks or so, Steve began suffering from migraines and then brain swelling. And so they went to the ER and they couldn't find any reason or cause for the swelling, but he did have some brain swelling. And it could just be something completely separate from the situation, but the family just, who knows for sure if it was something caused by one of these things, or maybe it was just a stressor. And then after this, another psychic came by, and we don't know the name of this psychic, but this one did smell the chemical smell. The other investigators, they hadn't noticed any of that, but this one did. And during this, the name Howard came up, and the family hadn't told the psychic anything about like really any specifics or details or anything, but they had a family friend named Howard, and his son had just recently kind of passed away. Not kind of recently had passed away.
Just sort of, just a little bit. What?
He only passed away for a little bit, and then
He just kind of passed away. It's okay.
Okay. So kind of recently he had passed away. Um, and they believed it to be an overdose, and so that's why they thought that it was like a chemical smell that was being caused by this specific spirit. But the psychic said that the spirit was trying to tell them that it was not overdose, that it was murder. So a little bit of crime in this haunting as well.
What murder?
And a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So yeah, really nothing came of it. Like there was really no investigation. Like no one really looked further into it, as far as I know. But it was just something that, they didn't say anything about the name Howard and nothing about him having a son that had passed away. So it was just weird how the psychic knew at least that information. The other stuff about it being overdose or murder, it could have just been the psychic making it up. I don't know. But who knows? I'm not a big believer in psychics, but I feel like some of them might be telling the truth. They might be seeing things,
They might be.
So, and then, like this pattern just continued over the years. A lot of people were asking to come by and just kind of like investigate or see if they could like experience anything. So it was just a lot of either psychics or investigators coming through the house. And one of these was a Hopi shaman, and she reported that the area was a rainbow vortex.
Hold on, a rainbow vortex?
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna Google that. I want to see what that looks like.
oh, it doesn't look like anything.
I'm sure she's going to explain what it is.
It would be cool if it looked like a rainbow, in the spiritual realm. Maybe it does, but so
I can describe what it looks like after you're done. I want to hear
cool.
what your description is, and I'll tell you what I think it looks like.
Okay. I don't have a like physical description of what it looks like because it's more of like an area encompassed by this like kind of portal vortex. But to some of the native people and the shaman of the Hopi tribe, she said that the rainbow vortex was a gateway between the physical world and the spiritual realm. So she said that like the house was basically around in this area of the vortex. And a lot of people in Colorado and the natives believe that the Black Forest overall is a vortex. And some of the areas are a little bit stronger than others, probably primarily where like these specific trees are as well.
So the whole forest was a vortex?
Some people believe that, but can't know for sure.
That's wild.
It's cray, Frank.
For me, I'm looking at some of these pictures. Do you guys ever do the thing in elementary school where it's like a spinning piece of paper and then they put like a little dribble of paint and then it like shoots out in every direction? That's what it kind of looks like to me. But I'm thinking like the psychic probably meant it like metaphysically, not like tangibly a vortex.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like, I don't know if it's in Oregon or something, but there's like a vortex over there as well or something.
There's a lot of things over there, Maria.
Well, but they say it's like something similar to that.
Yeah.
There is a vortex over here. Thank you.
There's a
Frank.
portal over there somewhere, I heard.
I've been there. It's pretty cool. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Kay.
You're welcome.
The viewer Ramrod would like to say that it looks like spin art. Yes, I believe that's the name of what I was describing.
I mean, yeah, a vortex is basically like a twister, but this is like a spiritual vortex.
Spiritual twister.
Yeah. So we can't see it with our normal eyes, I guess.
I'm imagining also Mario Kart
like Rainbow Road.
Rainbow Road.
Yeah, but like in the forest, like I would like to see that if I was
That
psychic,
would be
which
cool.
I'm not. That'd be pretty dope.
I feel like, yeah, like if like you could see it actually, like it would just be like a bunch of sparkly things.
Probably be
Like,
actually
oh, there
really
it is.
scary. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm kind of scared now.
What, of a rainbow?
Yeah,
That's what scared you.
Rainbow Vortex, man.
So yeah, and then one of the other experts was Gary Hart, and he was or is a hyperdimensionalist studies expert, and he thought that this area was a time-space warp. So kind of similar to the rainbow vortex, but with the time-space warp, it would be that this area allows beings of other worlds
so
to travel
wormhole.
between time and worlds. Yeah,
This is a
kind
wormhole.
of. Yeah,
Space time
Mhm.
shortcut. That's a wormhole.
yeah.
That's,
So that's what he believed it was.
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Now I'm
So
interested.
there's either that Native American belief that it's a rainbow vortex and it's more of like a spiritual nature type portal area, or it's something to do with time and space. And if it is the time and space one, then that would mean that the ghosts aren't really ghosts. It's probably just people from the past or from the future that are meshing with our time, and maybe we're the
Yep.
ghost to them.
Yep,
So
that is.
Yeah.
100% a very popular theory of how
Mhm.
ghosts are.
and that would be pretty interesting and cool, like if it was a thing.
Might be.
Kind of wish like both would be the same, would be true at the same time, because
Hmm.
why not? Who says? So
Could be.
Could be both at the same time.
maybe that's why there were 20. Like 10 were from this place, and then 10 others were from.
Maybe it was, 10 from one timeline and then 10 from another parallel. It's like you remember like those projectors in elementary school where they would like layer like transparency paper or the transparency sheets? Could be like 5 in one timeline and then 5 in another. And then when they interact, they kind of see ghosts to each other.
They're all being haunted by each other.
Maybe a ghost in the other timeline fell down some stairs too. We don't know. Maybe the stairs are. I don't know.
Maybe. So yeah. Another person that actually went to the house was a state senator. And this was because a lot of people were going to the house as well to try and debunk the situation. So the family had just gotten a lot of attention and recognition. Like they've been on like TV and everything with the show Sightings. And so the state senator decided to go and visit
Was he
the
a
house.
skeptic or did he want to like experience it? Was he a believer?
I think he was a skeptic, but they say that he left a believer.
So he rebunked it.
Mm-hmm.
Rebunked it.
So yeah, he was a skeptic from my research, and he left a believer. And they say that a lot of people that have gone to try and debunk it leave being believers after experiencing things. So that's something to think about.
Tim, we got another stop on our paranormal road trip.
Yep, definitely.
So reportedly, as of a couple years ago, probably like even a year ago, the Lee family, they're still living there. So they decided to stick it out, and I guess they.
Dad was bought into this house, guys.
Yep.
Dad
He's got
is
some
not
more
going to.
cameras. Get
The
some more
cameras are
you can
still
stay
there?
there forever.
Are the police still showing up every day to search the house?
No, not anymore. But yeah, they're still cohabitating with these beings. Like the doors, there's still reports of like the doors are being open and closed by themselves, that appliances are still having a life of their own.
I find it hard. It's just, for me, it's strange that like a family, clearly they believe something's going on, right? And they were already told it's a malevolent being, at least one, and then there's 50 others. Is that what you said?
20.
20
I'm sorry, 20. I'm exaggerating. So there's 20, but there's at least one malevolent that's like a main thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a rainbow vortex. And they're like, you know what? I think we're going to stay. To me, that's odd. To me, Dad, to me,
Yeah,
it's a bit
but
odd.
it was their dream home, so maybe they were like, no ghost is gonna kick us out, you know?
Well, and Joan just pointed out in the chat, if you get a good interest rate, you kind of have to stay.
Yeah. It's
I
so
would like
hard
to-
getting a house these days. I mean,
Yeah.
I would like to see this house on Love It or List It, or my personal favorite, Property Brothers. Hell yeah.
we have pictures of the house that like we can put up, or maybe you've already seen it, but
Yeah, let's do that.
and yeah, all the pictures that we can also like put them up as well, but some of the pictures that were taken by the investigators and the cameras around the house, there's also on the internet, so I sent some of them that we can post up. But the family, yeah, they're still reporting like objects moving around the house. They're still seeing shadows and stuff, and I'm guessing by now their two sons have grown up and moved away. I don't know what their experience is like. It was mostly just the parents speaking about it, because yeah, at the time the kids were still like really young, and I'm sure they didn't really want to say anything, or the parents didn't want to put them in the spotlight.
I bet those kids would be really honest about their experiences. Like, I don't think they would have a reason to lie, but I bet if you were to ask them, like, so tell me what really happened, I bet they would be honest.
Yeah. So regardless of all of the interviews though, and the attention received back in the 90s, the Lees, they wish to stay out of the spotlight now, and maintain their privacy. And really, you can't really find any pictures of them like themselves on the internet. I looked very hard to see like all the pictures that I could find, because they said that they took so many pictures and I couldn't find any of themselves, just the house and whatever they captured. So now the Black Forest is much smaller than it was back in the 90s and in its original prime. And the 2011 fires didn't really help, but the area is being cared for by the community. There's like a regional park there now. And it's still like a residential area. More people are moving in there, but it's still like widespread housing. And like I said, it's a unincorporated area, so it's not a town, it's not a city. It's just land. And yeah, there's like trees being planted again, because there was like a really big forest fire, and a lot of the houses were lost, a lot of the trees were lost, and with all of the lumber I can't say that word, lumber that they removed back in the day, like this forest is not really as big as it was before, and it's not really that menacing, but I can see how it could be kind of like spooky if you do stay overnight, because it can get really dark up there. But yeah, these lands have a long history, and it is filled with a lot of culture, and a lot of people don't think twice about what really did happen back in the day with all of the Native Americans. So who knows, like the trees do probably hold memories and energy. So even if this house is not haunted, like there's gotta be some like at least strong spiritual energy within the forest. So who knows? Would any of you like to go camping over there? There's
Sure.
campgrounds.
I would go. Hell yeah.
Yep.
No.
I'm a Boy Scout. I'd go.
I'm a Boy Scout.
Tim, let's go camping there, but we got to sleep head to toe, okay?
Oh, come on. You guys are buddies.
I don't want to roll over and then like I'm looking I'm looking at Tim like, I'd rather it be your feet, Tim. Just saying.
Or we just have separate tents.
Oh yeah, we could do that. That's fine too. You know what? Let's do that.
But then you're okay with Santa and Hunter, like
Yeah, I'm very okay. Oh my god. I would like to know from anybody that might be listening, would you buy a house in the woods And then if you found out if it was haunted, like you find out it's haunted for sure. You find out there's a malevolent spirit. Would you stay or would you go? How many cameras would you need to buy before you're locked in? Please put the number of cameras that you'd have to buy before you're locked in.
Yep. Yeah. And if money was not an issue, like would you stay just out of curiosity to like see if you like continue experiencing things, or would you just nope out of there?
And how many times would you have to get robbed before you did something?
How many times? How many times do the police have to come and look through your sock drawer?
Through your sock drawer.
They're searching the house every time. They gotta look everywhere, Kay.
I don't know what they're looking for in your sock drawer, but
Joan would like to know how close is the nearest grocery store.
Probably like 20, 30 minutes away.
how far is the
From
nearest Taco Bell?
Beginning of the Black Forest, but the family, I think they're like a little, the area that they live in, because I kind of know what area that the street.
Hold on,
kind
Maria,
of.
you went here, right? You went to the.
Yes.
Okay, so
I
how
took some
far
pictures
away,
of the trees.
How
that
far
we can,
away is the nearest Taco Bell?
I would say 30 minutes. It took like
How
a
far
good
away?
bit driving over
How
there.
far away is the nearest Cracker Barrel? We need to know.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 40 from Black Forest, probably like 40 minutes. I don't.
40 minutes ain't bad.
I think there's only like one
One is better than none.
Cracker Barrel that I know in Colorado Springs. I don't know if there's any more.
I
If
found
anyone
out,
knows, let me know.
found out that there's a Cracker Barrel that delivers to my work, but did not order from there. I might, but I might. Yeah, I might. You know what I'll do is I'll order Cracker Barrel. I'm going to put it in the fridge in my work. Wait until 5 o'clock and see if it gets thrown in the garbage.
If that happens, you absolutely cannot tell me, because I will actually physically intervene if
World
Cracker
War
Barrel
III
gets
will
thrown in the
begin.
trash. It will. I will march down there and I will do something myself.
There's some lore.
Maybe you need to buy a little mini fridge and take to your office.
I think somebody talked about that. Actually, so we had somebody that commented on a previous show named Eddie Burrito. He actually was talking about getting a mini fridge because of this situation with this person. Might be something we look into. I'm not paying for it, but could be good.
It might be worth it. You can't waste food.
Then you can grab that cake and just put it in there instead of letting it get thrown away.
You can just listen to that Rihanna song "Cake" that I'm going to be using for the intro. I wonder how much it was going to cost me to reserve that song for this episode. I'm going to totally do it. You guys don't think I will? I'll fucking do it. Joan would like to say that her and Kay are booking flights.
Yep.
We'd also like to know, Maria, if you know, does Amazon deliver to the Black Forest?
Oh, yes, because there's residential areas there. It's mostly like not
so you got
farmlands, but more like lodging, like lodge
Taco
houses,
Bell's nearby. You
mountain
got a Cracker
houses.
Barrel within driving, maybe delivery distance if it's only 40 minutes, maybe.
Yeah,
And you got
and
Amazon.
Yeah, this area, it's like between Colorado Springs and Monument. So like if you drive a little bit, you're back in civilization.
Santa Claus, he gives you your presents when you're there. You get to, it's like driving on Rainbow Road a little bit. Say less, you know? Now I want to go. Now I
Yeah,
wanna
there's
go
some
there.
tree. I didn't find it on my hike because like it is smaller than it was before, but it's still quite a large area that you can't really walk around in just one day. But there's like some of the trees that like it's full arch, so like you can walk through it. It's like a little tunnel,
Wow.
basically.
I didn't
like,
even really know that you could
yeah.
do that. I'm really curious to look at some of those
Mhm.
pictures of some of those trees.
It's pretty cool.
You guys want to jump into final thoughts? I feel like everything I'm saying is like a final thought, or I shouldn't have any thoughts after this, is what I feel like.
Sure. Tim,
Yeah, I
do
can
you have
start.
any thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I thought this was an interesting story. I really like the pictures that you'd sent that we're going to post. You know, seeing some of the streaks and the orbs and the smoke or mists or
Yeah.
whatever.
Dude,
Because you
that
got some on
last
the outside
picture-
and some on the inside, right? So
That
Yeah,
second
in
to
the
the last
mirror,
picture.
like look at the top right in the mirror. There's like two faces with their eyes.
oh yeah,
There's like
Yeah,
the second to the
very
last
cool.
picture you sent. There's like an attractive fellow there. That tree bent right around him. Bent right around him. Dude, long sleeve with the shorts. Chef's
It
kiss.
was windy. It was like hot, but then the wind would make it cold. So
Add him to the chimney.
Yeah. So I'm sure there was something.
I want him up
going
on my
there.
roof too. You know what I'm saying? Add him to the roof.
I am very surprised that they toughed it out and stuck with it to stay there.
Tim, what do you think are the
home, it's
odds?
a dream home, but
Tim, what do you think are the odds that this family kind of made up some of this stuff for notoriety? Real talk.
I think there's probably an aspect to it, right? I think it's probably maybe 20-30% of things that happened, and maybe 40% of mind playing tricks on them, adding on top of that, and then
So 40%
with
is
that,
mind
adding
playing
up
tricks.
20% probably reality.
30% real, 40% mind playing tricks, 20% is real, 10%
Yeah.
embellishment.
Yeah, and then another 10% of we made this up for sure, 100%.
So 110% of
No, we had 20, we had 40. That's 60. Then we had 40 left to go.
I'm going to add this up on screen and post it. Kay, what are the odds that this family made this up? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I really believe that the police came out that many times. I mean, I think at some point they would probably stop coming. Imagine how many potholes we could have filled with those tax dollars. But
the
well.
potholes here are crazy, but that's because of the winter. So-
Kay's got this elaborate calculator. It calculates policeman hours, but converts it to pothole filling.
Listen, potholes are a real problem, okay? And somebody having their alarm system going off all the time is not a big problem. It doesn't super surprise me that they didn't move, because even the parents, like from the Conjuring house, they didn't move, even after all of the events from The Conjuring.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, they went through a lot worse. They actually saw stuff, you know? They didn't just put up cameras and have orbs fly around.
Honestly,
They were seeing shadow figures, though.
yeah.
Yeah, but like the parents got possessed and they
True.
still stayed.
It's weird because I think like I would leave, right? I think I'd leave. I think I would go. My house is broken into. There's something on the roof. But like I can tell you, like my parents, like Mrs. Barrientos, that bitch is gonna stay, and she's gonna be like, "Well, I'm gonna put some cameras up too. I'm gonna catch that. I'm gonna find out what's going on." My parents would be so stubborn; they would stay. They would. They got a deal. My mom and dad would be like, "This is my fucking house."
I would probably just be like, "Hey, listen, if you want to stay, you need to be paying rent. If you're going to leave my doors open, then you need to contribute to the electric bill or get out." And I would just tell them what's up.
Yeah.
And hope they listened.
Yeah.
Hope.
And
And
if
not
they
intensify things.
don't, well, then I'm going to intensify things.
Maria, you got a final thought before I close it up?
Yeah, I kind of agree with him in like, I guess the percentage of it being true and false. Cause I don't know, I do believe in like what the shaman, said, just, you know, like people that are more in touch with spirituality and just nature and things. I don't know, maybe there's like some validity to that. And maybe the family did experience some things, but then they saw it as an opportunity to just, you know, get a little bit of the spotlight and then just,
So you agree with its
exaggerate a
exact
little bit.
percentages? The exact percentages, you're on board.
I don't know if exact, I didn't quite catch the numbers, but I do believe that like at least like most of it could be true, and then just some of it was a little bit more exaggerated and, you know, just made up. But I do like to believe that there is something more like spiritual and supernatural in the forest. And then yeah, so I kind of want
Okay.
some Black Forest cake.
I'll
After all
close it
this.
up. I would like to think of this scenario less of a percentage in math and more of a Venn diagram. Okay, that's how I was gonna.
It's a pie chart.
Venn diagram. You've got fake over here, real over here. You've got skepticism over here,
Mhm.
and in the middle where they intersect, that's
Yeah.
where you got the rainbow vortex. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend. Next week, well, actually, let me pass it over to Kay. She's got some stuff to talk about before we close it up. I'm sorry.
Goodness gracious. Thank you, Frank. If you would like to win one of these guys, you can. There's 2 of them, including this one right here. Keeping it safe for you. First way to win one is careful.
Sorry.
Is to go on over to Instagram, send us a message, and let us know what Frank's tattoo is. And the other way to win one is just to go over to our Instagram, find the post that mentions the hat, like, comment, subscribe, and we will be announcing who's going to be winning both hats if somebody can guess Frank's tattoo. Nobody has yet, on our murder mystery episode. And if you were curious, when is the murder mystery? Let's talk about it. So next week, Joan is going to be telling us about unicorns. And then the week after that, on 6/23, we are going to be doing Murder Mystery Part 3. So please come join us. Join us live. It's at 7 Pacific, 9 Central, and 10 Eastern. We would love to have you come and play along with us. So join in if you can.
Thank you, Kay. If you are so inclined and you are someone who likes YouTube, whether watching us live or watching us in post, you can actually go to our channel on YouTube and hit a little notify button for both of those shows, the Unicorn Show and the Murder Mystery. If you want to find out if we survive Murder Mystery, go ahead and hit notify me for that. You'll get a notification. If you want to know why I'm drinking unicorn blood in the Black Forest, you go ahead and hit notify me for that. And yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for telling your friend. Thank you for taking your mom out to this forest and leaving her there. And we'll see you all next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.